love, peace, and alien lettuce. So I've got a bunch of different clips today, just the same old stuff, conspiracies and whatnot. So yeah, let's check it out, see what's going on, see what we got.
You guys seen this conspiracy of this guy saw like a giant? This is so weird. Okay, so this guy was driving and then there's a state park there with this big mountain. And he's like, what in the world? Looks like there's like a giant walking on the mountain. And so then he's just started pursuing it. Like, I need to find out what this is.
Yeah.
He tried to go up the state park road. There was a guy who claimed he was CIA and said the road's closed, turn around. But this car just kept on showing up at his house. And like he gets a video of like, he like looks out the window. He runs outside, the car peels and just drives away. And then he like put out this statement and it was almost like he was reading off of something like, hey, those videos I did,
I was just kidding.
Yeah, they're fake. I'm just kidding. And then he just disappears.
There's this guy like this behind the camera.
He's gone. You're not hearing what I'm saying.
Yes!
He's gone.
I heard it. Wait, gone?
They don't know where he is.
He's a missing person.
He's missing.
Oh my gosh, guys. Okay,
And
but wait,
presumed deceased.
So I put this one in there because I see it a lot on a lot of the videos and the channels that I follow and watch. And there's a show that a lot of people may have heard of called The Y-Files on YouTube, and they covered this topic, the same guy, and he pretty much debunked it all, showing that everything to the guy passing away or the obituary was fake. I haven't watched it in a while, but check out Y-Files episode that talks about this specific story and this specific person. They definitely covered this story, and I'm pretty sure it's completely debunked and turns out to be fake. It's a good story, but fake.
Can you please explain to me in detail the event that occurred at Vandenberg Air Force Base?
Certainly.
I've been waiting for this for seems like my whole life, and I literally fell out of my chair.
They observed a very large red square, estimated to be almost the size of a football field, approach the base from the ocean and hover at low altitude over one of the launch facilities.
Radio transmissions start to pour in.
As it became closer and closer to our position, it stopped and hovered right up the coastline. There's no propulsion systems, no lights, no audible sounds, and it just hovered there.
And then just all hell broke loose.
There was a lot of chaos.
These are people I'd spent years with, and they're not people that are easily frightened or intimidated. And they were terrified, and they were screaming for help over the net.
This object remained for about 45 seconds or so before darting off over the mountains.
It just shot away up the coastline. It seemed like 1,000,000 miles an hour, like it was shot out of a cannon, and then it was gone. I mean, personally, I can't explain it. I've never seen anything like it in my life. The way it hovered, to make no sound, to have no propulsion system.
I honestly don't know what to think about the congressional hearings involving the UFO, UAP, or whatever they're calling it these days. Because I have a feeling that whatever is actually going on, whatever they're hiding, is going to be 1,000,000 times crazier than what they're telling us. I don't think they would let even the tiniest bit slip of the truth if they have as much control as us conspiracy theorists say they have and are able to keep secrets as well as we all say they are. We wouldn't be able to see any of this. With that being said, what they could be doing is ramping up for Project Bluebeam, because they keep trying to push this threat narrative about it. Because I follow a lot of the stuff that Dr. Stephen Greer says, but I'm starting to kind of be on the fence on whether he's a CIA plant, an agent for disinformation. If you've never heard of that, I'll show you a video about a man named Richard Doty. This is 100% true. You could look it up on the CIA website, read the whole story. The Y-Files also did a story on it where they would go to places like UFO conventions and stuff like that and get into UFO forums and wherever people that really believe in this kind of stuff, and they would purposely plant seeds of disinformation and claim to be whistleblowers and just try to really make the story complete opposite direction of what the truth is.
A civilian physicist. He was one of these people who was a civilian researcher in the UAP,
in the New Mexico area, and the Air Force deliberately deceived him and exploited him and even broke into his house to make him believe that there was going to be an imminent alien invasion. He basically nearly went crazy. And the Air Force did that deliberately. And
what?
Yeah, the main perpetrator in the Air Force is a guy named Richard Doty. He's quite well known in the UAP circles, and that's what he did. And I can see that happening right now. You know this DoD UFO office called AARO? Mm-hmm. They recently released a report. Their report was looking at the historical of the U.S. government's UAP involvement. Congress directed them to do this report, and they basically didn't do their job. It was a lot of errors. They missed a lot. They are deliberately not saying what they know and saying things that are patently untrue. In this report that Congress directed, they're not acknowledging what they know, and they're actually putting out false information.
That's crazy stuff, to literally keep feeding this man a story and to where he's believing it and seriously like going nuts. It's crazy. Check out the episode of the Y-Files to where they cover this topic. And that's another reason that I'm starting to be on the fence about Dr. Stephen Greer, is simply because on a couple of his documentaries or movies or whatever you want to call them about this topic, Richard Doty is one of the people he's interviewing. And I don't know, man. I don't see why you would use someone that's literally their job was to plant misinformation in, about this topic. Like it's public knowledge. People know that. And why would you use him in your, truth revealing movies, an agent for disinformation? I don't know.
On this, just so we can stop being paranoid, or we can start, being paranoid.
Let me see if I can thread the needle on this.
Sure. Take your time.
I know a lot of people, this is nothing new. There's entire religions that plan for doomsday, right? The end of the world's coming. Then you have, oh, then it's Y2K, and then, it's the end of the Aztec calendar, right? And, it's now, there is some speculation, and I won't say specifics, that there may be something in later on. But the problem is I wouldn't go to the bank with it. And what the specifics are, because it's first of all, it's hearsay. And it's also yes, there was an official effort by some people in the government to actually look at this data, and there were some products produced. That's a fact. I won't go into more detail.
That man is Luis Elizondo. If you don't know who he is, I've actually featured him in a previous video. He's the first one to come out and claim to work for a government program called ATIP, or it's either ATIP or AARO. Either one that had to do with UFOs, which they're calling UAPs. I think he's another disinformation agent, because the Pentagon is still giving him permission. Him, David Grush, everybody that testified in front of Congress, they're still giving them permission and telling them what they're allowed to say, trying to push the threat narrative when it comes to extraterrestrials or whatever these things in our skies are. In this clip, he's talking about some doomsday that could possibly be coming. And if you watched the last video that I talked about Apophis, Luis Elizondo is also one of the people that is building a bunker for something that could be coming 2027, 2029, 2032. He knows something that he's not allowed to tell the rest of us. If it's Apophis, there's really nothing we can do. If you don't have the money to build a really heavy-duty, deep underground shelter, you're just super lucky. You're not going to make it if Apophis hits. It's huge. It's the size of the Astrodome, and it something that big, moving at like 10,000 miles a second, the velocity of that object hitting the Earth would just be catastrophic, man. No, these billionaires, these whistleblowers, whatever they know, it doesn't seem to be good, because they're all preparing for the apocalypse,
Or star seeds, are they hybrids?
So humans who are starseeds, they definitely have higher amounts of extraterrestrial DNA within them. But once again, it comes down to their soul being more extraterrestrial than their physical body with that purpose.
You know what a cyborg is, right?
Yeah.
That was Elizabeth April. A lot of people don't know who she is. A lot of people buy into what she says. She is a remote viewer. Now, I know it sounds really woo-woo, you know, remote viewing, psychic abilities and that kind of stuff. But keep in mind, the CIA funded research and had programs specifically looking into and doing this remote viewing stuff for military applications, for spying applications, for espionage. You can find all that stuff on the CIA's website, declassified stuff. Look up the Gateway Project. This is real stuff. I don't think the government would spend, millions of dollars on a program if it was all, BS. Anyway, this is Elizabeth April. It's a woman that I follow on YouTube that she remote views all kind of stuff, does predictions. Just check her out.
You know they eat babies. That is not bullshit.
Have you heard of the blood harvesting conspiracy? The concept of harvesting adrenochrome from people's blood has been discussed in conspiracy theories for years now, and it's safe to say it sounds like a dark and sinister practice. The idea claims that adrenochrome, a chemical compound produced in the body during stress or excitement, is extracted for supposed anti-aging or euphoric effects. While it's a frequent topic in the conspiracy circles, there's no scientific or credible evidence, but there's certainly a lot of people talking about it.
You know they eat babies. That is not bullshit. It's true.
So it's not just the dogs and the cats, not just the pets.
It's not just the dogs and the cats. They're full-on vampires. And everybody still thinks I'm crazy, but I'm not crazy. They're full-on vampires. They love the taste of human flesh and they drink human blood. They do, Tucker. Stop staring at me like that.
You're freaking me out, man. Because you spent your life in the entertainment business, so I think you have some authority on this.
So many kids that I was in mental institutions with over the years, they are all from those cults. And they've covered it all up. And
could the elites in Hollywood be secretly harvesting adrenochrome for its supposed rejuvenating effects? While these ideas are popular in certain conspiracy circles, there's no real evidence to back them up. Missing persons and human trafficking are serious issues, but the link to adrenochrome is just speculation with no solid facts. As always, this video is purely for entertainment purposes, but it's always good to stay informed, question everything, and always dig deeper before believing the wildest theories.
This one's wild. Now, it's not the first time I've heard it, especially about the adrenochrome. There's also some stories that this ties back to lizard people, but that's just too much to get in for the day. I'm going to go ahead and end it right there. So question everything, friends. Answer hate with love. I'll see everybody in the next one.